the plug, Gregory.
So welcome back, guys. It is SARCO Racing once again here on a Thursday night. We are here for round number 6 of our Formula Renault 3.5 V8. In the commentary box, I have Stephen Darge back with me, as well as Ashley, who's going to be the director this evening. Guys, how are you doing?
Good evening, Mr. Hall. How's it going?
Hello, Dylan. Hello, Stephen. How's it going?
Hearing you absolutely loud and clear. So thank you very much, guys, for joining me once again. We did miss you on Monday night, Stephen. Unfortunately, my stream wasn't up. I had load shedding. Thank you very much to our wonderful ANC government for being able to keep me racing.
Well, we are here tonight. We have at least got some semblance of power. If you are watching from around the world this evening, load shedding is a phenomenon that is unique to South Africa. There are rotational blackouts, rotational power cuts, all to try and keep the national grid going. But we are here, we are live. We hope that we are going to be live for the rest of the evening. Load shedding has been downgraded to stage 1. Yes, there are many stages of load shedding. And hopefully that means we will have power for the rest of the evening, and we'll be able to bring you some fantastic racing action live in your lounge.
Thank you very much for that, Stephen. So to the guys in the lobby, I see that the thumbs are up. We're just waiting for Donovan to give us a thumbs up there. But essentially, we are waiting for one driver, and that is Dane. He unfortunately has load shedding till 8:30, I believe, and he was just hoping that his power would come on. We have sent him an invite, so as soon as that power does come on, he should be able to get us. We are hoping that he joins us through the qualifying. But other than that, guys, just remember turns 1, 2 and 3 are extremely tight, so just ensure that you do provide enough space for everybody around you. And remember that we are officially Code Coconut, so if you'd like to tell somebody's mother's private parts, rather replace it with the word coconut. This is a family show. So without further ado, let's go racing.
I think Dylan talks so much coconuts.
So to everyone on the stream, thank you so much for joining us. We're just making sure that the feed is up. We can see it. So do feel free to send us those messages. We do see Dane saying evening, so unfortunately it doesn't look like Dane's going to make it. Sorry about that, Dane, but we do have Colin here. Theo's joined us. How's it? Brandon Hills saying birds. They're in the house. We're looking forward to seeing Brandon Hills later on. And Vaughan saying go, go, go. Vaughan is in this race, so looking forward to seeing what happens there. So while we get the loading screen up, sorry about that, Stephen, I just wanted to bring up the current point standing for this championship. And that's the ones I'm looking for. So as we have 15 drivers here this evening, we look at the current drivers' positions, and we still have Sly Pete up at the top, just about running away with it now. Colin in a second place with 170 points, and right behind Colin is his teammate Dane, who is watching. Doesn't seem that his power's up. Fifth place is Pierre, so Rough Riders having an almighty battle with Daycol Racing. You can see Rough Riders top of the positions there with 406 points versus 332. Vaughan Hills, he's sitting in 5th place just behind Pierre, who's in 4th. And we have Tyler Scott down in a 6th place with Paul Fenter down in a 7th. We then have Robert in 8th, Andrew the Horn Dog, or Hot Dog as Facebook likes to call him, in 9th place. Johan VDB not in this evening. We do have Peter Brandt. He's in 11th place with Terry in 12th. Alvain not available this evening. So we have had Donovan, who's now stepped up for the Racing Boots 2 and not the substitute. Wolf in 16th place. Remember, he's not available, as well as Dr. Phil and Wolf.
As you say, it's all about the competition at the top. It's just points separating the two drivers of Daycol and the secondary driver in the Rough Riders team. Nice racing should be really tight here at of the Algarve International Circuit, if you want to call it, give it its full name. And it is about 4.7 kilometers long, and it is located in Portugal. The phenomenal track, 15 turns, and it is of course a Formula 1 track. It is graded as a Formula 1 track by the FIA. It is quite a new track as well, having been completed in 2008. Some guys are really going around there, getting their tyres warmed up, getting some times, well, they will be starting to get some times onto the leaderboard, where they will fit in as we head towards the end of the practice session. That will then determine who starts where in the main race. We are of course dealing with the Bravo tier here, and these are the drivers who are on their way up, shall we say. Quite at the top, but on their way up. Nonetheless, it doesn't mean that there is any less racing action out here tonight on SARCO. Tonight's section very proudly brought to you by BX Gaming, Deliver Your Parcel, and NASCOM, proud sponsors of tonight's racing action, and indeed of the entire Formula V8 Renault 3.5 litre league. Fantastic cars, 530 horsepower, weighing just over 630 kilograms, making for fantastic power to weight ratios. They are of course also very fragile cars, that even the slightest amount of contact between competitors means damage to these cars. It means slow lap times, and that means dropping down the positions in the race. It also means longer pit stops, so these guys have got to take all precautions necessary to make sure they do not come into contact with each other. And what we have seen the past 5 rounds is a bun fight at the very beginning, with a lot of guys making contact just after the lights go off. And it normally means that if you can get out at the of grid on pole, is you're almost guaranteed a decent start to the race. If you're in the middle of the race, you really are going to have to fight your car on track amongst all of the competitors. I could do the first few turns as the grid then spaces itself out, or should I say the pack spaces itself out. We're in for some pretty good racing action here tonight, I think.
Not 100%, I can't agree with you anymore there, Stephen. We do have some new drivers that have joined us. So we do have Greg Campbell. So he is driving currently in 12th place. You can see GRE driving for the team Split Personality. Greg has been wanting to get to the racing, but has had internet issues. Hasn't been able to get his fiber connected, and he got it connected this last week, so he's joined us. Then all the way from Brighton Beach in the UK, we have, where has his name gone now? Well, we know him as Antonio. He is currently in 13th place. That TWA is actually Antonio, so we'll welcome Antonio here. Oh, it looks like someone's going to be disconnecting. I think that's Colin's car stopped in the middle of the track there. So I hope that that is not the case. Ashley, I don't know if you can just jump down there to Colin in 5th place and just see whether that is his car stuck on the track there. So
we are seeing, yeah, unfortunately that's going to be a serious disconnect, that one.
So we hope that he does disconnect and he gets back into the room very quickly, because you've got to be back in before 3 minutes. So that is very unfortunate. I know that his teammate Dane is watching at home. Guys, we are currently broadcasting live through to both Facebook and YouTube. So if you are watching, send us a message. Tell us your thoughts on this race. Currently, the fastest man in the pits, Vaughan Hills, on a 129.0. The Horn Dog coming in a 2nd place, 129.3. And then we have Pierre in a 3rd place, 129.7. And I believe that the race pace here should be around about the 131s or so. And I have got word that for the Alpha tier, we're probably looking at about a race pace of a 128.
That's quick. That's very quick around this circuit.
So Ashley, I don't know if you want to just jump in here, if at all possible, just in terms of using the DRS in some of the places on the track. Where would you suggest that DRS is used, and where would you say that should definitely not be used?
That a number of people are having connection issues around the country tonight. I suspect that is the case. It might be affecting Ashley too. Let's hope that isn't the case. He is the man in charge of directing the cameras here tonight.
Unfortunately, I was just not able to hear a message that Ashley was trying to give me. But it does look like we have lost Colin. Hopefully he is able to get back in quickly. So message coming from Dane saying, get that car moving, Ninko. Definitely don't like seeing guys disconnecting. But unfortunately, because we are on such a tight schedule, it is very difficult for us to go and restart that, because we do have the Alpha tier waiting to start directly after this race.
So, Dylan, to come back to your question regarding the DRS, well, this track you try use it wherever you can, except in the fast corners, because that could cause a serious accident, which I
found out last weekend at Silverstone when I proposed to turn off my DRS.
That was when you came into contact with Gavin.
And taking one of my fellow competitors
weekend at Silver Corners, I think it was through Stone, and ended up taking that was like Formula One. Oh, that was unfortunate.
That was a big hit there by Peter.
Now I understand why in Formula One they actually allocate specific areas where you're allowed to use the DRS, and the rest of the track you're not, and you also have to be within a second of the car in front of you, because if you get it wrong or you forget to turn off the DRS, you're in for a serious surprise.
Yeah, like we have seen. Look, even for myself, the promo video that I had is I found myself trying to push that DRS button just a little bit too soon, losing the rear. Not only that, but coming out of the last corner. So that is a very fast down the hill to the right hand side. Turn number 15.
Yes.
Had the DRS open and just managed to catch that rear, but yeah, could have ended very badly.
Absolutely. Yes, I've discovered that a couple of times myself.
It's quite a tight track. I mean, if you look at an overall layout of the track, there are a number of very tight turns. Dylan was saying turns 1, 2, and 3 very, very tight. Look at turn 6 and 13 as well, and turn number 14, all being very tight, 180 degrees or more. Means that much power too early, and your nose will be pointing towards the noses of the cars coming towards you. That is a dangerous position to be in, especially if you are in a faster zone. I can imagine if you're looking at turn 15, the ultimate, the finale rather, turn coming onto the pit straight. Apply a little bit too much DRS there, a little bit too much power coming out of what is going to be a fast section, and some guys will have to be really, really careful coming out there. So they don't put too much power down, face the wrong direction, and then their competitors come out of turn 15 onto that straight wanting to put all their power down, and they'll find another car in their way. I can imagine nothing worse from the driver's perspective.
Just looking at the starting positions, I was absolutely amazed just to see the Horn Dog up at the top there. So Sly Peter's run of getting himself on pole has been broken, with Pierre in 3rd place. We have Vaughan Hills in 4th, then Robert Stoltz in 5th place, followed by Donovan Lee in 6th. Then Paul Fenter, he's in 7th place with Peter Brunt in 8th. Tyler Scott is in 9th place with Rolf in 10th position. Marius is in 11th. Great to see Marius with us. Terry Wilfred, he's in 12th with Greg in 13th place. Let's go racing. So again, we're just waiting for the guys to load up those setups, and it looks like we have lost Colin, so he is not able to get back into the lobby. That is extremely unfortunate, which means that the fight up at the top there for the team standings between Dakel Racing and Rough Riders 2, unfortunately, they're going to be losing that momentum.
Yeah, and I just got a message from Johan, and unfortunately he missed his invite, so I'm not sure what happened there, but we do apologize profusely, Johan, if you didn't get the invite. We will definitely make sure that you do next time.
There are a few more rounds of racing to come, which means that even if some guys do miss tonight's racing, because of the powers that be at Eskom or otherwise, there are still chances for them to redeem themselves as we head towards the end of this league. I think that was the sync. Should be getting lights on the podium shortly. Are correct?
It should come up on the screen. It will say syncing.
Load shedding will be causing a number of connection issues for people around the country this evening. That includes playing havoc with fiber internet connections. And hopefully we don't have any drivers who drop out in the race, as Colin did during the qualifying session. It does also mean that there may be some extended time periods to have all the drivers sync together. The racing action underway.
Yeah, I must say someone's definitely leaving it very close. There we go. That was the sync that we were looking for. There's the notification. So Ashley, if you can just give us about 6th place as the guys start here, so we can see and make sure that everybody is clean. That's green lights, and we are now racing here at the Portuguese track at Algarve. Going about 6 wide. That is not safe. Going into turn number 1. Oh, little tip there on the rear. Vaughan extremely close there.
Oh, no, another one. Oh, that's taken out. Is that taken out? I can't see from this angle.
So there's cars all over the place there. This track extremely dangerous. And that's not what we want to hear, but we now have Donovan Lee. He started down in 5th place. He's now found himself up into 1st with Vaughan Hills in 2nd. Peter Brunt, he's in 3rd place with Robert Stoltz in 4th. Marius, he was further down. He's now up into 5th place. So that start, lots of the top guys, unfortunately, having contact, falling down the order. But that's definitely opened it up for some of the other drivers now.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate incident in the first corner. The guys weren't taken easy like they should have, and that's the result, unfortunately. Some of the guys have dropped way down the field, and you're going to probably see them going to the pits. Hopefully they can get back to the pits. There's old Greg Campbell without a front wing. A couple of guys without
Greg's got his front wing, and that's the horn dog pushing. Oh, a little lock-up of the rear there. With him coming out of turn number 13.
Well. So we've got 2 drivers without front wings, and those are the front runners. He actually started in pole position, so there we have another 2 guys coming together.
2nd and 3rd, or was that 1st and 2nd?
That was 11th position. That was racing for 101 Rolf. And then we have another 2 guys at the back again, so I don't know what's going on with this privateer tonight. There seems to be chaos.
Someone's lost a wheel. It looks like that's probably Greg Campbell that's lost his wheel there. So damage all over on the first lap. Definitely not what we want to be seeing.
And I just hope the guys in front manage to see that wheel on the track, because if they hit that at speed, they're going to have serious damage themselves. So hopefully the flags are out. And just warning those drivers that there's a possibility of some debris on the track. Unfortunately, we don't have a strict safety rules, procedures like you would get in Formula 1. But I'm sure in time we'll see it in the newer games.
So on board now with Vaughan Hills. He's trying to close up on Donovan.
Let's just see if they manage to dodge that debris. Okay, the wheel has been removed. Oh, there it is. No, it is there.
Yeah. It seems
So
like
they
luckily it's
managed
off
to-
to the side of the track, so it's on the inside line. However, that point on the corner, the guys are quite far towards the outside. It means that it shouldn't necessarily be an issue unless you're going into the pits, at which point you should be reducing your speed in any event. So if the guys do hit it and on the way into the pits, they shouldn't have too much damage to their cars. Any hope?
So that is Terry Wolford. He's now up into 6th place. He's thought, oh, that's going to be very close running off the track there. That curb is absolutely deadly. Is that if you do get that wrong, it will pull you and throw you in. Whoa! Great awareness there by Paul. So just seeing Johan VDV, he's on the stream saying, what's the point of checking the website? Unfortunately, Johan, we did mention on the Discord this morning that we are still having issues with that check-in. That's why we had to do the manual check-in on the Discord. Apologies. We did not see the name that was on there.
Well, Johan, next time you join us, you're just going to have to race extra hard and make sure you come out on top at the end of the race. It's going to be your solution.
So, Paul really looking for a way to get himself around Terry. But I'm actually very impressed with Paul being able to just see that that spatial awareness between himself and Terry. Really, really good. And you see that wheel on the inside. There's a car that stopped just off the track there. I think that was Tyler Scott. No, Tyler Scott is still there. That looks
That
like
is Tyler.
Tyler
That is
is
Tyler.
more than likely going to be disconnecting. And I see that Greg Campbell, he's no longer with us as well. So Paul having an almighty battle here with Terry Wolford. So that DRS will be open. I'm sure he'll have a look to the inside. Will Terry see him coming? A great late move there. Terry will go around the outside. Allows enough space, but a great move there by Paul. An amazing overtake there.
Very, very good.
Yeah, that was
Shows
super
you
well
how-
done.
Showing you how important racing etiquette is in these particular situations. What happens with a lot of online racing, in other games in particular, is that guys cut each other off, and they don't care if you've got the inside line. I am going to take that line. I am going to cut you off, and I am going to cause damage to your car. The guys participating in this racing right here on SARCO, they are schooled in the art of racing etiquette. It means you hold your line. You're going through there, you do not contact other cars, and you do not dive bomb, but you have got the overtaking opportunity. The car in front of you must allow you to overtake.
Absolutely, Steve, and that's the whole point of this community, is that we a bunch of guys that take this seriously, and we don't want to ruin somebody else's race unnecessarily. So if we all stick to the rules and racing etiquettes, it's enjoyable for everyone.
So this battle here for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th place is really starting to get very, very interesting, because we see Peter Brandt currently in 3rd place, and less than half a second behind him is Robert Stoltz in 4th place. So there's the battle happening a little bit further up. And Vaughan Hills still trying to find a way around Donovan Lee. Really great racing action happening now that first lap is out of way. And that's generally what we see, is that once the first lap jitters are over and done, the guys can focus on the actual racing. And that's where the quality of the drivers does come out.
From a strategy perspective, what Vaughan may be considering doing is keeping the pressure on Donovan to perhaps cause Donovan to make a little bit of a slip up. And I am quite certain that Donovan is very aware that Vaughan is right behind him. Donovan will not let the lead go without a fight though. And these cars are entirely evenly matched apart from the unique setups that the drivers do. And in the hope, of course, that they will have a superior setup to the next competitor. And what Vaughan might actually be wanting to do is hold back for the moment, applying that pressure. No intentions of overtaking just yet. Waiting for Donovan to make an error. At that point, one will capitalize on the situation, pass him in the dust. I think Donovan's going to let that happen very, very easily. He's probably very aware of the pressure, and he's probably very aware of the fact that that kind of pressure can lead to mistakes, so he'll be acutely aware of not making such a mistake.
Oh, that was a little bit wide there. I think he might have outdone himself here. Will Vaughan go to the inside? I wouldn't have put my nose in there. That was very, very clever driving there. Just got to be patient. Make sure that there is enough space to make the pass as opposed to wrecking both of your races.
Exactly.
I just want you guys to take note when they're going down the straight here. One should have a slipstream and should be able to close that gap quite quickly, but it doesn't seem like he's able to close that gap down at all. And I wonder if Donny's running a lot less downforce and he's just able to pull away on the straights a bit or keep that advantage on the straight.
So I can definitely see that. Yeah, but he's not getting that advantage. But actually, can we just jump down to 4th place? See that between Robert and Peter Brunt, they are getting very close once again. And another little battle happening further down, and that's between Marius and Paul. So lots of little battles happening all through this race at the moment.
Just over 30 minutes to go, all to play for amongst all of the drivers right now.
That's Paul going to the inside once again.
Very nice.
And being able to essentially duplicate the move that he made on Terry earlier, and just made that same pass as he passed Marius. So a really great driving there for Paul, now moving himself up into 5th position.
You're watching the race, what you've got to remember is that each and every corner
Roberts unfortunately gets it a little bit. Thank goodness he got out the way there, because I think Morris was about to collect him.
Yep. So that now it says that Roberts is now up into 3rd place, and now Paul's up into 4th with Peter Brunt that just completely confused me. Is that Morris is now 5th. Paul's in 4th place and Peter Brunt is now in 6th.
Be easily confused, Dylan.
And Terry seems to be having quite a good race here.
Whoa!
I'm not sure
I still don't
what he was doing there.
I still don't know why the car is there, but that's Terry now moving himself up into 6th place. A pretty easy pass around himself and Peter. But I'm not sure whether Peter might have a little bit of front wing damage there after a little mistake. But I think he should just hang in there for the next 8 minutes or so. Go in and get the repairs done. And that was Terry just losing the rear there. There's Terry up against the wall.
Minus the front wheel. It's a long way back to the pits. Have to nurse that car home.
But that is...
that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
That really is a far way to go, and I'm sure by the time he gets around, that engine is probably going to be blown.
It's an extensive pit stop. It will be an extensive pit stop, and that means it could be a long pit stop as well.
So we have a change up at the top there. Vaughan Hills is now the new race leader. Donovan falling behind 2.7 seconds. So I'm not sure whether he had possibly made a mistake. And that's allowed Vaughan Hills to go through and take the lead. Robert Stoltz in 3rd place with Paul in 4th. Then Morris is in a 5th place with Peter Brunt in 6th. Terry limping home in a 7th place. We have Sly Pete, and he will be moving up a position over Terry, I'm pretty sure of that, with the Horn Dog down in 9th place. So that was Vaughan Hills now going past the Horn Dog down in 9th place. You can see Andrew just moving over to the side, allowing the guys to get past him. And that is the two lead drivers, Vaughan Hills and Donovan Lee.
Last thing about the Algarve International Circuit is the fact that it's wide in many places. Oh dear.
Yeah, that was still Terry. So Terry's not giving up just yet.
I was saying the nice thing about the Algarve is that it is a wide circuit. Oh, going a bit of 4x4. Okay. It is a wide circuit which provides for a lot of overtaking opportunities in amongst all of the corners. It's not like the older circuits which can get very, very tight in some of those corners, providing for overtaking chances. And there are a lot of slopes on this circuit. There's a lot of uphill and downhill action, especially there, as you can see on the main straight, going up past the big grandstands and then down into turn 1.
So Robert's trying to close up on. So Robert is trying to close up on the rear of Donovan, because Tyler's now got himself just over 1 second between them. So I'm sure he's going to be bringing that fight through to Donovan.
So Dylan, did you manage to do any laps around here?
Unfortunately, I haven't. With my load shedding that happened on Monday night, I didn't get any. So very, very frustrating.
Oh, that's sad. I did a couple of laps here, and I'm looking at these times and I'm sweating a bit because I definitely haven't prepared for this race, and that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
As long as you keep that DRS completely shut, you'll be okay, Ashley. So just some of the guys coming through on the Facebook page with Richard Burner. He's saying good luck, guys. Saying tyre wear on this is going to play a major factor, and yes, we can't agree with you anymore. And Frederick Marks, a new follower here for our SARCO page, so welcome, Hendrik. We hope that you like what we're seeing and we get you racing with us pretty soon. So guys, unfortunately we have lost Terry. We see that he is no longer there, so I would believe that he has blown his engine and has had to retire that car.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, Dylan. I noticed these cars don't really like it. Well, if you've been practicing with a low fuel load and you whack in a little bit and the tires are cold, it is a battle to keep on the track. So I haven't quite mastered sort of the race setup, as per se, for these cars. They seem to be very, especially on this track, I've noticed, very twitchy at the back. So what I'm doing tonight, I'm going for a very hard downforce setup.
Yep.
And I'm just going to raise the tire pressure a bit at the back to try and get a little bit more stability. And hopefully that's going to allow me to survive for the first part of the race with the back end not slipping around too much. But maybe I should speak to the alien Christopher for some extra tips and advice, because he's going to be, I reckon he's going to be flying around the track tonight and doing some super times. But let's not forget about Brandon and Lendl. Those two will be chasing him seriously and putting up a good fight. So, well, I'll be watching that battle from right back in. I don't know where, but I'm just going to try and keep it on the back stuff tonight and not take or ruin anybody else's race.
So listen,
make sure
you actually forgot to mention the likes of Jakes, the likes of Gavin, and the likes of Marius.
Oh yes, of course. I've had a couple of battles with Jakes, but then eventually he just pulls away into the distance. And obviously Marius, yes. I mean, all those top 5 guys, 6 guys that I tell you, it's been a absolute heart-wrenching and quite.
So then maybe I'll add another curveball for you. Ross put himself second on the podium last week.
Yeah, that was unlucky.
No,
Ross.
So Ross, if you're listening, Ashley's just called you out.
That was so. Yeah, Ross has. So there is fierce competition in the alpha tier, and if you just make one stupid silly mistake, that's it. Your race is done. So you have to concentrate throughout the race and give 100% focused. And I suppose that's exactly what your racing is about. It's about being consistent and being focused throughout the race.
So I'm just taking note now of the pit stops, and I see that Paul, he's been the first one that I've noticed to go into the pits, and that's not on the first lap contact that we've seen. So that was pretty much a little splash and dash. Would believe tires
he's doing a bit of repairs there as well, didn't he? That was
yeah, so maybe just a little bit of a 10 front wing damage or something.
Yeah, I don't think it was serious damage, otherwise he would have been a lot longer. So it's probably just aero damage which he got sorted out. I tend to turn off those sort of damage repairs because you waste a lot of time in the pits. You want to get in and out as quick as possible, and if the car's feeling pretty stable on the track, you kind of during the race want to adjust those settings as you go, which also could be tricky at times. I've often lost concentration going around a corner trying to change my pit strategy. So you have to be very careful not to mess that up as well.
So guys, we're approaching 20 minutes, so that is officially halfway for this race, and we see that Ross has come on the stream and he said, yeah, he's heard the cat is where it's at. So a little bit of poetry there from our Scottish international. Okay, so we're now starting to see the pits coming in fast and furious. So Vaughan, he's gone into the pits as well as Robert. So I am now making a note because last week we did make the mistake and not get a full view of all the pits, and it looks like Robert, he's also getting himself some damage repairs done there, as well as Vaughan, which has now released Donovan out in front.
Yeah, that's going to give them a huge advantage. So that's what I was talking about. I mean, I don't think those guys necessarily need to do any repairs on their car. They could have comfortably drove around here, but that comes with experience in this game, knowing when to repair your car and when not to. Let's hope that doesn't hamper them or doesn't displace them in this race.
So I do see Pierre has got himself a little red mark, so that means that is a time penalty that will be added to the end of his name, and I can only assume that that is with him going into the pits. But here we currently have a battle for second and a third place. Marius being just about taken out by his teammate side by side down turn number 15. That was extremely brave.
Oh.
Okay, so Tyler's car isn't actually there. That's good news.
It looks like it's just on our screen, yes.
Yep, so as you see, Marius made sure that he stopped before that line to get that speed down. So Marius does not get that time penalty. Donovan's gone into the pits, and I see he now has a time penalty. So I'm sure it's probably going to be a minimum of 10 seconds there for Donovan, because that is the lowest amount of time that is added to your pits if you do a speed. So now it all depends of where Vaughan, who was technically in first place at the time of the pit stops starting. But
just looking down the field, and that's the Rainmaster who's gone up to second.
So technically he is in first because he has pitted, which means that he is currently your provisional pole, or your provisional leader.
That's it.
Look at what's happening in 4th and 5th. There's a big battle going on there between Pete and Vaughan.
So we do know that Pete, he would still need to come in for a pit unless he's taking the view that he did pit earlier on and he's going to run the entire race. But I don't believe that his tyres would be lasting that long.
What is the time penalty for not pitting?
So luckily, we haven't had to add anything.
Yeah, but I do think there would be some sort of penalty if the guys do not pit, possibly a disqualification for not following the rules, but that would have to be decided after the race amongst the officials.
Yep, so what we would do is we would send it off to our third-party guys that go and they would officiate the incidents, and they would then send us a report back, and we would know what penalty to put it on. And the reason we take it as a third party is so that we aren't involved with any of that decision making, and it is totally subjective on the footage that is received.
Just joining us here this evening. You are live in your lounge. The South African Racing Community Online, also known as SARCO. You're watching round 6 of the Formula V8 3.5 litres challenge. We are live from the Algarve International Circuit in Portugal tonight. Watching some excellent racing in the Bravo tier. Your 1, 2 and 3. It is Paul in first, Donovan in second, Pete in third. With just over 15 minutes left of this race.
So I believe one of our drivers has actually driven on this track before, and that was old Terry Wilford, and he drove around here in is it a Janetta? Dylan, one of the European manufactured cars.
I think he did say it was a Janetta.
Yes, and he says it's one of the best tracks that he's ever raced on. So, and yeah, I tend to agree with him with this.
Just jump there
the heels and engine.
Just jump there to second place for us, please. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. So, yeah, as you were. Because that there is the battle for second, third, and fourth. We've got Donovan, Sly Pete, and Vaughan Hills, all within 2 seconds of each other. So this battle's gonna heat as Pete takes that curb with him. You can see how that rear just twitched as he got that power on.
And it looks like Pete's managed to find some pace in the later stages of this race. So. Obviously settled down nicely now, and he's in a good rhythm, and seems to be closing the gap on Donovan, who's 6 seconds behind our race leader, the Rainmaster. So this looks like we're going to have a nice close end to this race, which I always look forward to. And I see old Vaughan Hills is also catching them, so we're going to have a very good into this race.
So with 13.5 minutes to go, there is still everything to play for. Anything can happen. Even at a late stage like this, start to feel the pressure when it comes towards the end of the race, and they want to make sure that they bring those cars home. There is still a 6.5 second gap between Donovan and Paul.
Vaughan is closing up so quickly on the rear of the Rough Riders driver. So we'll see him get a slipstream advantage down here. I'm pretty sure I can see Pete moving out of the way, trying not to give Vaughan any advantage. But with 12 minutes to go, these guys are going to be finding themselves racing for just about 8 laps. It is going to be extremely difficult here. Oh, Pete's so wide on that curb. You can see that's pushed him wide. That's going to allow Vaughan to get an advantage. Pete grab that curb on the outside, and if he's not careful, he's going to have Robert Stoltz going past him. So there's a Robert now tucking in behind him. He'll have the DRS advantage now as well. Will he have a look to the inside? Yes, he goes. No, he doesn't. So Robert deciding to rather pull out of that, but now that means that Vaughan Hills is back up into third position.
And it shows you how quickly this it's easy to lose the back of this car, and how they can lose it.
There goes Robert getting that rear very loose. And now, can I tell you what's going to happen? Peter is going to come on and say, you guys were on me from a camera point of view. That was your fault. That was commentator's curse right there.
I was just about to say the same thing.
I thought maybe that goes back to your theory, Dylan, that his tyres are maybe going off. He pitted early in the race, and he's probably need to go into the pits again for a second stop. What do you think?
So look, with 10 minutes to go, I honestly would rather try and nurse this car home, because by going in now, he's going to be giving up positions, giving up places on the track where at least he can defend himself against Robert for the next. So with 11 minutes to go, just on about 7 to 8 laps, there is enough of a gap between himself and Peter. But if he goes and pits, that advantage is then gone.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, he just needs to keep his head down and just nurse it home if he is running with worn tyres. So this battle is looking quite good now with Vaughan catching up on Donovan. So our prediction is that I think we're going to have Don and Vaughan fighting nail and tooth towards the end. Because I think they're going to catch the Raymaster. I have a feeling that they're going to close their gap on him.
So I've been watching that gap now for the last 3 laps or so. What's happening is I'm seeing that Vaughan is catching Donovan, but the two of them together are not catching Paul. So Paul's been able to keep Vaughan around that 8-second distance the entirety since I've been watching them. But I can guarantee that Vaughan will be able to get himself ahead of Donovan, but I don't think he'll be able to catch Paul. But hey, that's just my prediction, but then what do I know?
Well, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Maybe we should put a wager on that, Dylan. How about a tenner?
Okay, listen.
I'm not feeling that confident.
Well, look, I can see it, and I can almost guarantee that Brandon Hills will back what I'm saying.
Yeah, these guys are battling it out now, so Donovan will be looking at his mirrors, and he's also realized that he does have a penalty. We don't know to what extent that penalty is, but
so if you just bring up the screen for us that has all the timings, we should be able to. And I can almost tell you it's 10 seconds, 12 seconds.
Whoa, so it's 12 seconds. Oh, that's insane.
Which means that Sly Pete is currently in 3rd place.
Yeah, there's a good possibility that even Robert would be able to catch him. Well, let's see how it goes.
Yep, 100%. And we'll see that my prediction on Pierre down in 10th place, the minimum time penalty there is 10 seconds, and that's exactly what he has, unfortunately. So honestly, Vaughan doesn't need to push. All he needs to do is find the opportunity. If he is going faster, set himself up, but he doesn't have to make any crazy mistakes, because currently Vaughan Hills is in 2nd position.
Well, I'm sure he will want to chase for 1st position. I mean, that's where he was early in the race. So I think he's definitely want to go for the 1st position. He just needs to get past Donovan, and he's got enough time to actually catch the leader.
So just looking at that time, so he's probably made up about 0.5 of a second on Paul. But now as we come through the second of the straights here, you can see that time will once again close down. It all depends on what that time is looking like as they start going up through turns 12 and 13. Because that's where it was just bordering that 8.1 seconds. So I did find out that coming down through Craig Jones here, Ashley, is that you can do that with your DRS open.
Yes, I did notice that as well, Dylan. But if you're following a car, I don't recommend
There's
it.
the opportunity there for him. Looks like Donovan went very, very late on the brakes there into turn 13. Vaughan not wanting to push, but now will he be able to sneak up on the inside? Coming out of turn number 14.
I think he's got it.
He's now got it. He's on the inside. Going down turn number 15. A great move there, side by side through that. Man, I get nervous seeing that.
Yeah, let's see if Donovan will come back and try to fight him again. But it's pretty much pointless. I mean, his race is pretty much done. I don't think he needs to. I think he just needs to nurse his car home and get it done for the day. But will we see Vaughan closing their gap on Paul? Well, time will tell.
So Donovan, with his 12-second penalty, if we add the 12 seconds onto his time, that gets him to 20 seconds, which means that he has 2.2 seconds advantage over Robert down in 5th place. So Donovan is still currently in 4th.
Yeah, and if you just look at the times that Pete's doing at the moment, in the low 31s, and Donovan's in the lowest 32s, it's over a second faster, or just under a second faster, sorry.
Definitely going quicker than Donovan at the moment, so he should be able to close that gap.
So 5.5 minutes, and Paul, he leads with over 7 seconds ahead of Vaughan Hills down in 2nd. Then Donovan, while we've got him in 3rd place, he does have a 12-second penalty added to his name, which means that Pete in 4th place is actually in 3rd, with Robert Stoltz now trying to close up some of the time between himself and Donovan to get himself further up the field. Then Peter Brandt, he's in a 6th place. I see he's also just got himself a time penalty, with Andrew Horn in 7th place. Marius Jacobs, he is in 8th place, with Rolf in 9th. That's Pierre down in 10th place. And Tyler Scott, that was a disconnection. His car is still on the entry of the pit lane down in turn number 15. And it looked like that he had disconnected there.
So Dylan, I just noticed that Vaughan did a 129.9 on that last lap, compared to the leader on a 131. So he's definitely turned up the wick, and he's I think he's going for that position, and he's already closed that gap by 2 seconds. So yeah, this looks like it's going to be a nail-biting finish to this race.
There's 3 laps left. There's one thing
3 laps
catching,
left.
another thing to pass. Because I can tell you, if someone was catching up to me, you can ask some of our fellow drivers how wide you're able to make a car in the right circumstances.
Let's go back down to the field and see how the rest of the guys are doing. We got Robert in 5th position. Nobody really troubling at this stage. With it's PB at the back of behind him. And if you just look at it, he's got a penalty of 1 second. So yeah, Robert doesn't need to worry about him at all. But PB does have to worry about the horn dog. So maybe the horn dog can catch a ball.
No, that's...
Sorry guys, that's like a 20 seconds difference. No. Unless something goes horribly wrong for the PB, I doubt that'll happen.
What's interesting I've noticed is that Pierre, after having performed so well a few weeks ago, finds himself at the bottom of the order. He was 2 minutes behind the race leader, despite having in some really, really good times. 1 minute 30.
Yeah, so the reality, yeah, he's looking at his lap times, he's on pace, but I think that first corner just disrupted quite a number of the drivers, and that's the thing, is that once you get out of that rhythm, it is so difficult to fight back. So it is very important that you keep it clean through the first couple of corners, then from there you find that rhythm and then you start building up that pace.
Oh, hopefully Pierre will be able to fix that issue and make sure that next week he gets through that washing machine beginning of the race cleanly from out the other side. It is perhaps a strategy to sit towards the back and just take it very, very easy through those first few corners. Let all of the crashy action, shall we say.
You can definitely see, that Vaughan is definitely pushing there. Little lock up there for him coming into turn number 6. So I think that he was definitely trying to close up there. Sorry about that, Stephen.
Oh, well, this is the thing. I think with a minute and a half left to go, Vaughan's going to have to... Oh, it's going to have to be a miracle on Vaughan's side if he's going to pass Paul up.
That's Donovan wide going up into turn number 9. That's put Peter right up behind him. Careful, careful, careful. And I could see that happening. I'm so glad that Peter was able to hit the brakes there, because that was almost the front wing off, and he would have had to have another lap without a front wing.
Tell you right now, Donovan knows that is right behind him, and all it is now, as you said earlier, put your car wide and through last few turns.
Right, guys, so we are currently on the last lap, the Alpha tier. I'm sure that Ross has got that lobby just about ready. So we will finish off with the driving interviews as Pete has a look to the inside, decides against it. And we will interview the drivers. From that, go straight into the Alpha tier, and then we will be racing there. So, guys, stand by. We are definitely in for some more crazy racing action here on SARCO in the Formula Renault 3.5 V8 League round number 6.
So unfortunately Vaughan wasn't able to close that gap like I thought he would, but he did a fine job from getting it from 7 to 8 seconds right down to 3, and you can actually see Paul in front of him. So hats off to him for the effort. Unfortunately, he just ran out of time, ran out of laps. But good race from him all round.
So definitely that time in the pits has cost him. As we jump to our race leader, he will come out of turn number 15 for the last time up against the wall. He will cross the line and he will win in an absolute fantastic race there, with Vaughan Hills in second. Now Donovan and Sly Pete, they were side by side, and it looked like Sly Pete managed to go around the outside him, but they're going to be side by side as they approach the start finish line. But it will be Sly Pete who will take that third place. So absolutely great racing there, great fighting there for Vaughan, and an absolute incredible recovery there for Sly Pete, having to pit on the first lap and coming up. Is that,
and he said Robert going slowly
without fuel?
Oh my word. That's so unlucky.
Wow, on the last lap.
And let him allow Pete to go fast.
Oh!
No way.
What was that? Was he trying to go to the pits?
I have
can't have been
absolutely no idea what happened there, but I think that Peter Brunt, got a little bit out of control. No, I honestly think that he lost the rear.
Yeah, I think he forgot the DRS.
That's quite possible. Oh my goodness, that is crazy. And now he's going to have to just try and scrape a position. That is absolutely incredible. Did not expect that to happen.
That's an interesting end to the race.
Sure.
Very interesting end
So
to the race.
there we go. The final results is Paul will come home in first place. Great drive there for him. Vaughan Hills in second. Pete will come home in third, with Donovan in fourth. Robert, we'll see now, should be able to get that position ahead of him. No, Robert was, unfortunately, he fell short there by a good couple of seconds, but Robert does get a fifth place with the Horn Dog in sixth. Great recovery there for him. Morris in 7th place with Rolf in 8th. The Pierre in 9th place with Tyler Scott, a DNF, saying that he did not finish, and Terry with a retirement. So thank you very much, guys. That is the Alpha Bravo tier now done and dusted. As we wait for the invites to come, we will jump off to the next
Thank you
race.
for Dylan for inviting me in, and I'll I'm gonna run off to my lobby. Cheers, guys.
Awesome. Just remind them to please send me the invite. So thank you very much, guys.
Will do.
Okay, guys, so we have been able to get the replay saved there.
Here in the lobby, or in the commentary box joining us now, is the gentleman from 2nd and 3rd. Vaughan Hill's coming in 2nd in that race. And
yeah, we see Vaughan's joining us. We're just going to wait for Peter to come and join us as I get the invites for the
How's it, guys?
Bravo tier. Just want to make sure that I return to lobby. There we go.
On the outside.
Took me out and Craig. Craig.
Really.
Yeah. We're still coming in. Vaughan's joining us. We're just going to wait for you to come and join us as I get the invites.
Steve, this is the moderator.
I think actually have no clue. Just saying it.
No, just guess them.
Okay, guys, so we just about got everybody in the lobby. So let's start off with Sly Pete. An absolute fantastic comeback there. It was a little bit of a touch in the front there. Absolute disaster there. You pitted early and you literally drove that car the entire race with one pit stop on about lap 2.
Yeah, thank you, Dov. Yeah, I tell you what, there was absolutely nothing left in those tires. And then trying to get past Donovan. He said to me, look, mate, I've got 12 seconds of penalties, just take it easy.
Yeah, 100%.
I said, man, let's race it to the line, but this was awesome.
It really was absolutely fantastic. So well done to you there. And then just seeing that Vaughan, he's still connecting. Vaughan, can you hear us? So sorry, guys.
I don't know why I can't get my camera to work.
Push the camera, but if not, we're happy to just hear your commentary.
Voice from the ether.
So Vaughan,
how did you find the race? Look, you had fun.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Vaughan,
Yes.
we're talking to you.
Yeah, it was not a bad race. I took it easy in the start, and a couple of the guys took themselves out. So I managed to get into 2nd place, and eventually passed Don for 1st. And then my pit strategy was a mess again. I selected the wrong strategy. They never changed tires. I just got fuel and repairs. And I think I came out 6th again. I think I finished about 3 seconds off the leader. So I think it came down to a bad pit stop again at the end of the day. So but good fun and lekker.
Had an almighty push towards the end to try and catch up to Paul in front, raising that gap by 4 seconds. That must have been quite some intense racing towards the end. I think you would have been sweating a little bit there.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to lie. I am sweating a bit. It's difficult. You need to find the gap between pushing too hard and being comfortable with finishing 2nd. So, I gave it a push, but I'm happy to finish 2nd. So well done to Paul.
No,
It was some
100%.
phenomenal racing.
And then to you, Paul,
Yeah,
it was almost
thanks,
a picture-perfect race for you. Your pits were supreme, nice and early, got out of the traffic, and then just brought it home.
It's difficult.
Paul, can you hear me?
How's it, guys?
How's it?
Seems my signal is a bit weak.
Okay. So what I'd said is that your pit stop was absolutely perfect. You went in, did the fuel, got the tires, and then you were out, made up a lots of time, and then just kept it nice and clean to the end.
I was surprised to first, but I think my biggest thanks has to go to Marius. He sent me I'd call it a secret setup, because it worked brilliant in the end. So.
No, 100%. An absolute fantastic drive there. A great result there for you. So, guys, well done.
The pit stop was definitely awesome. No damage, nothing. So, in and out. And then quite surprised to see.
No, awesome. An absolute great drive there, guys. Well done. And now let's head off to the Alpha tier. Thank you very much, guys.
Well done, guys. Awesome race. Thank you.
See you next week.
Sure. Ciao.
Okay, to the guys in the Alpha tier. Sorry, I was just disconnected. Just making sure that I'm not clashing with anyone. The Alpha tier.
Cool. Cheers, guys. Well done. Cheers.
See you next week.
Okay.
And to the guys in the Alpha
Pretty easy the whole race. Made one mistake.
Avoid any coconuts that might come through. Just joining us here this evening on SARCO. We are awaiting the start of the Alpha tier race in the Formula 8.5 litre league. That should be underway very shortly. On the loading screen and making sure that everybody gets their consoles in order, and we will be underway in the qualifying session very shortly. Racing in the afternoon. Some light cloud about in the beautiful hills of Portugal at the Algarve International Circuit. Round 6 of the Formula V8 League. That section very proudly brought to you by VX Gaming, NASCOM, and Deliver Your Parcel, 3 proudly South African companies which all deserve a lot of support during these unprecedented times. To use the cliche words a little bit too much. There we are. On the way out now to track to see how they can get their times onto the board. There's a man to watch. Is Mr. Christopher Radloff. He's put in some phenomenal racing over the past few weeks. I would say he's untouchable.
I wouldn't say untouchable. He has made mistakes, and I think that between Brandon, Lendl, Gavin, Jakes, and Marius, is that they're all getting a lot closer in terms of their times, and anything can happen.
That's the truth. It's 40 minutes of some racing action coming up now. Cars that weigh just over 620 kilograms produce 530 horsepower. X4, very twitchy car, a dangerous car if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. So as we see Christopher leaving, it's absolutely incredible, Stephen, that once the guys get through those first couple of laps, the quality of the racing is phenomenal. And I just wish that we had a solution or the way to solve the problem to say, all right, guys, that you're not allowed to race for the first 3 or 4 laps, and whatever position you're in, you then have to go single file, then you go racing again. But we know that that is not racing. It's just that too many guys just touching a wheel, and that creates so many problems. I just wish that we got past that. And I know they're just racing incidents, because you can see that just the level of quality of the guys that are racing here, they're giving each other the space, they're driving with a lot of spatial awareness. But when you've got 4 cars, 5 cars around you, it's the little things that happen.
Absolutely. That spatial awareness is so key when you are racing like you are. And what is idea could be incorporated into future Project Cars games. We don't know if it's going to come out in Project Cars 3, which was very recently announced, is the option of a rolling start.
Oh, look, we have rolling starts in this, and specifically on our Sunday afternoon racing that we have, which is more the fun stuff. And we do the rolling start, do the formation lap, but it is computer controlled. And you get somebody who just has a little bump or a touch, and then that throws not only you out, but whoever else is behind you. And there's still too many glitches in that formation lap stuff. So, yeah, man, I don't know what the answer is.
The answer lies, I think, with the game developers. They're going to have to pull up their socks when it comes to Project Cars 3. It is a very controversial game, swapping out a lot of the established racing formats that we see in Project Cars 2 in favor of a more arcade driving style.
Not only that, but they've taken out pit stop, they've taken out fuel, and they've taken out tyre wear. Those are all fundamental parts of what racing is.
Well, we'll see.
Enough about Project Cars 2. We're here at Project Cars 2 and 3, sorry, and we're on 2, and the lap times are starting to come through. Brandon, he has gone quickest, and just as I'm about to say, Gavin in second place, the 2 racing but it is actually Morris who now goes second with a 127.4. So you can just see the difference in terms of the skill level between the Alpha tier and the Bravo tier.
Quite right. The fact that there is already a 3-4 second gap.
That is Lendl going 126.8.
His outlap too.
Would we see a 25 at all?
Would, I think, be very possible, considering these guys will be getting to grips with cars, getting tyres warmed up as well. And it's entirely possible that a 125 will come out in the wash. You'll see somebody at the top of the grid, 125, and that means competition will certainly be on. I suspect that a lot of the drivers, once they see a 125, they have some wide eyes, knowing that there's a lot of work to do. Looking at the rest of the order, plenty of 127s, a couple of 128s, and 129s, and 130s.
So while we still have a couple of minutes, let's just bring up the current Alpha tier points here, just so we can see who is leading. So currently we have Christopher leading on 300 points with Brandon in second. Jakes, he's in third place with Ross. He's moved up the order after his second place last week. Ashley, he's in fifth with Marshall in sixth. Gavin in seventh place with Craig in eighth. Marius down in 9. And I'm sure Marius is going to be looking to get some points here. Ronaldo, he's in 10th with Alex in 11th place. Connor down in 12th with Lendl. He hasn't really had luck with the series at all. But here we see him currently in second place. Christopher has just gone quicker than him. And Stephen, not racing this evening, he is down in a 15th position.
We've got few more drivers here than we had in the Bravo here. Unfortunately, some disconnects causing some issues in the Bravo here. And there we go, another example of racing etiquette there on display from Christopher. Let the faster driver pass you as you come out of the pits, and make your way back into...
Ooh.
Oh, no. Ooh, that's a tax stepper of note, that one. That was a tax stepper of note.
That's not waiting for your tires to be warm before giving it your all. But only 0.2 between Christopher and Lendl. So once
3
again,
minutes to go.
and I'm just looking between first to fifth place, that's 1.1 seconds, 1.2 seconds to 6th place. Then Ross, he's currently in 7th. Amaris, he finds himself in 4th, so he will have Gavin currently, if they finish like this, right behind him. And we remember the Amaris trying to go around the outside of Gavin at Silverstone. And unfortunately, the two drivers touching wheels, sending Marius up and over, and he hadn't even got to the first corner, and he had to retire.
It was dreadfully unfortunate. Very, very, very
So
unfortunate.
Lendl now sets a new fastest lap, 1:26.2. Absolutely incredible. So it looks like he's going to want to have a little outlap and give it a go again. Christopher, he's still in 2nd. That's 0.444 behind Lendl. Brandon, Lendl's teammate, in 3rd. Then Marius in 4th with Gavin 5th. Jake's 5th for the Green Mambas, and Gavin down in 6th place. Then Ross, our Scottish international, he's in 7th. Marshall in 8th. Ronaldo, he's in 9th with Craig. Expected to see Craig a little bit higher up, and Ashley did say he hasn't had much practice, so he's still trying to figure out the car in terms of race pace. He's in 11th with Connor in 12th place. Alex, our Norwegian international, he finds himself 13th, and then Sean van der Linde, Sean van der Linde, he is in 14th position.
Us to have proper racing pedigree amongst our sim racers here tonight.
So just as interest sake is that Lendl, he drives in the Formula Vs. Christopher, he drives in Historics. Brandon, he drives in the Formula Vs. Marius is an online racer. Gavin, I don't know what Gavin drives. I would believe that it's a Formula V. Jake's sim racer. Ross, sim racer. Marshall, sim racer. Ronaldo, sim racer. Craig and Ashley, they're actually teammates, believe it or not, in the karting that they do there in East London, with AD, who's Connor, down in 12th place, and Alex, sim racer, and then Sean down in 14th place. He's a V driver, so lots and lots of real world drivers here this evening.
And it means that competition will be fierce. Ain't no doubt about that.
So
these guys got everything to prove.
Gavin puts himself 2nd fastest ahead of Christopher, and that's something that we're not used to seeing.
It was very, very quick. I think a 1:25 would be attainable if there was just a little bit more time.
So thank you very much.
Pushing very, very hard.
I'll just say thank you very much, Vaughan Hills, for the correction. Gavin is an online racer.
There we go. Always useful to have information. Ooh, that was wide. Wow. Any chances?
So
chances.
Just the final laps will be counted here. So Gavin won't be able to improve on his position. Brandon won't either. Normal Morris, normal Jake. So there's still Ross. Lendl, that's DRS was open. You can see what happens. I'm glad that we got that. So just going to make sure that DRS is closed. And we saw it looked like that was possibly, yeah, that was Christopher. So obviously he was thrown off just a little bit or wasn't going to improve. But that is the latest in terms of the position. So Lendl, new pole sitter here, and not Christopher, with Gavin in 2nd, Christopher 3rd. Alongside him is Brandon, with Morris and Jakes in 5th and 6th respectively. Ross, he will line up next to Marshall in 8th, with Connor out qualifying Craig. Connor in 9th place next to Ronaldo. Let's see if I can get it before Ross moves on. Then Craig 11th, Ashley's 12th, Alex in 13th place, and Sean in 12th.
That was tight.
Now, please, guys, I just hope, let's keep it nice and tidy, and everybody will have a good time. So I think let's just jump to about 6th place there when we get going. I know exactly what you're doing. Just get a view of everybody on the pit. But I think from about 6th we will be able to see majority of the guys going through. We are waiting for everyone to load those final setups, and I can just imagine just the nerves having seen what happened into turn 1, 2 and 3 in the Bravo tier. I'm sure these guys are going to have all their wits about them.
Absolutely. First corner is going to be hell for some of these guys in middle order. If I were them, I'd very seriously consider holding back, just even a little bit, just to make sure that we're going to keep our focus on 5th and 6th, 7th and 8th place. It seems to be where a lot of the action happens going into that first corner.
Even myself, I'm just feeling a little bit anxious here. It's absolutely incredible. But I'm sure the guys will learn from this. They'll hold their line through the corners, break early, and rather just get into a nice rhythm.
I wonder if we should view right from the back, right from where Sean is sitting, cockpit view, to get a feel of exactly what the drivers go through. When there's the sync.
That's the sync. That's what we are waiting for. So we'll have 4 red lights. The lights will start coming down. That's the last red light. It will go green, and now we are racing here at Portimao. And there's a very, very slow start. Ooh, that's who's dropping down there? That is side by side Morris going around the outside of Gavin. So Gavin and Morris managed to get around each other without any contact. But Christopher, how does he keep doing that? He's moved himself up into 1st place. Lendl is down in 2nd. So Gavin is 3rd. Right there. Morris now on side by side going into turn number 6.
Is our man in front, and amazingly, no serious issues in turns 1, 2 and 3.
So I'm just looking, it looked like that was Brandon. He's now dropped down to 13th place. So he's obviously had a little bit of an issue coming off the line there.
He's lost his front splitter.
Lost his front wing.
It's a pity.
Just look how close those times are between 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and the 5th place. And we can see them going down the hill there. Through turn number 13. They'll be going up now towards turn number 14, and it is going to be crazy action coming down turn number 15. We can just jump to about 4th place. That's Christopher and Lendl going to the inside of Christopher. What an absolute incredible move there. But now, who will have the advantage going into turn 1? So Christopher, it looks like he had more of the straight line speed. You can see how close the guys are further back there, with Ashley putting lots and lots of pressure on the rear of Marshall. You can see how close Lendl got up to the rear of Christopher going into turn number 4.
The engine's really spinning, 1,300 RPM from a V8.
Well, a little wide there for Christopher, but it doesn't seem that had impacted his exit speed. So that is the view that we want to see. Christopher's a little bit wide. Lendl's going to move to the inside. They're going to be side by side going down towards Craig Jones. But Christopher will have the inside advantage. Lendl will have to pull out of that attack. And now a regroup. Try and find another position to get there. Look, Lendl having his time penalty, so I would believe that is possibly one of the smaller ones. There's
He's rejoining.
Driver rejoining. Not sure who that is. So close on their exit was Lendl getting up behind Christopher coming out of turn and number 14. Now Marius starting to close up onto the back of Lendl. You can see how much of an advantage he'll get as they come down the start-finish line. And Marius wanting to move to the inside. He'll attack back in behind Lendl, going into turn number 1. Lendl going a little bit wide. He's going to keep going. I don't think he's going to want to come off to serve a slowdown and a potential time penalty. But it is absolutely crazy up front here.
The wide move could well be the reason. He's going outside the track limits. And that could be the reason for a very minor time penalty. Perhaps a second or 2.
So quite interesting to see Marius and Lendl taking very different lines going into turn number 6 as well as the approach up into turn 7. Marius very tight there on the inside of turn at number 9. I also like that line that he had taken. But you can see Marius, while he's in a good place behind Lendl, he's not getting away from Gavin at all. Gavin still within half a second. And just behind Gavin, there's Jakes.
Absolutely. 4 seconds to separate the top 5. 4 seconds between those 5
that
cars.
was Gavin. You see he had a little bit of a tank slapper there coming out of turn number 13 that put him on the dirt. So he's going to lose just a little bit of that momentum, which is going to allow Jakes to possibly close up on him. But if we can just jump down to 6th place there, please. Seeing Ross and Marshall having an almighty little battle there with Alex. He's also got himself in that battle. So it looks like Ross will try and go to the inside, decides that he's not going to do it, but Marshall runs wide. There's not going to be enough space there. Marshall sees him coming. Great overtake, but now Ross is wide. Marshall now moves to the inside. That's Ross is now away, and Alex just about on the back of Marshall's rear there. Very, very close, but no contact there, so the guys can continue racing.
Phenomenal action here. Race etiquette playing a big role, but competition playing just as big a role too. Because a lot of these moments, these guys need to realize that they're getting a little bit too close, and that even the slightest touch can cause some serious issues with these very brittle cars. Open wheel racing means that if wheels connect, that means some very big trouble. Spaced themselves out a little bit now. That doesn't mean the pressure is off either Ross or Marshall. Alex bearing down quite well from behind.
And this is what I'm loving about this race, is that we can see that 2nd and 3rd have a battle, but now I'm seeing Ashley and Connor down in 10th and 11th place. Is they within 0.3 of a second of each other. But now Alex looking for a way to get himself in front of Marshall. And there we see just at the bottom of the screen, that is Ashley putting loads and loads of pressure, or getting loads of pressure from Connor. But just behind them is Ronaldo.
Oh, that's close.
Yeah.
Wow.
Alex opting the wider line there to not touch the rear of Marshall. So great driving there for him.
Have a look what's going on down here. That's a big battle between Ashley.
Whoa! And as we look at Ashley,
no.
He puts it up into the wall.
Commentator's curse?
It has to be.
No.
Because as we said, Ashley, that was it.
And a disconnect as well. Oh dear, I don't think was...
Yep, that unfortunately is Ashley gone, but he's given us an absolute amazing view. So thanks for that, Ashley. We'll definitely use that later on when we look at some other points, but come and join us on the stream. Let's keep you involved. But now Christopher starting to open up a little bit of a gap between himself and Lendl. And Marius also seems to be just dropping back just a little bit.
Yeah, the field's opening up a bit now. You can see a 2-second gap between Gavin and Jakes. 3 seconds between Jakes and Ross. Another 2 seconds between Ross and Marshall. So, others giving themselves a bit more space, possibly trying to cool off a little bit because of the fact that was a very, very hot start to these 40 minutes at the Algarve. And that doesn't mean that the race is off, but possibly taking a moment just to have a bit of a breather. Just under 32 minutes left now. 8 minutes gone. And these drivers will need to start thinking about their pit stop strategies as well.
Yeah, so we're probably about 10 minutes out from the pit strategies. And we saw what happened and the importance of making sure that your pit strategy is right. We did hear from Vaughan Hills, who was leading the race, but due to an extended pit stop, he unfortunately lost that lead to Paul. Paul absolutely superb on his pit and landed up winning that race. So that is essentially what cost Vaughan his race. It was his pit stop. But now Marius getting extremely close to the back of Marius. Well, Gavin looked to the inside here as they come down turn number 15, but he's going to have that DRS advantage within the slipstream. But the question is, will he have enough of the straight line speed? I know Marius looks like he's actually pulling away. So we know Marius likes an extremely loose car. He's possibly running a much lower downforce than the likes of what Gavin would be. So I think that's where Gavin starts catching up onto the rear of Marius here through the twisty stuff. But once Marius is on the straight, we'll see here coming as they head towards Tortevip, turn number 6. You can see Marius just opening that gap. So definitely a much faster car in the straight line for Marius compared to Gavin.
The action is right now. It's third and fourth place. Who's going to come out on top in the next few minutes? Just over 30 minutes to go in this race. I see Connor has just scored himself a time penalty. You can see exactly how bad that penalty is.
Yeah, so these are still very low. Oh, that's Lendl. Got himself a 3-second penalty. So he's obviously been pushing extremely hard to try and catch the rear of Christopher. 1 second there for Gavin, 1 for Marshall, and 1 for Connor. So nothing really too hectic now, but it all depends on what happens when they're going into the pits.
To the main straight where we're watching the continuous battle for third and fourth between Gavin and Marius.
And I must say that must be so frustrating for Gavin, is that knowing that he can close up that gap through the rest of the track, but as soon as Marius gets on the straight, Marius just starts opening that gap again.
Absolutely. Reminds me of the historic racing that happens locally, where you've got big muscle cars and the small sports cars that challenge each other on the likes of SARCO, where you've got the muscle cars opening the gaps up on the straight, and those little sports cars really closing that gap through all of the corners, making for excellent racing action, live racing action, of course. Something we haven't seen in a while due to the COVID-19 outbreak, but will surely return at some point. And racing like this online and seeing excellent battles like what is unfolding before our eyes, this is going to be the way of the future. We scroll a bit further down the order to see what's going on between Marshall and Connor. There is Connor in the Panasonic car. He's going to be looking to close that gap. You can see Marshall just in front of him there.
And we see just coming up the top of turn number 11. That is the Portimao corner. That is Connor's teammate Craig. So I'm sure he's going to want to start closing up and putting a little bit more pressure on the youngster.
Connor is quite young, isn't he? He still goes to school as far as I know.
Connor is 16 years of age.
Oh.
We had to ask very nice permission of his mom and dad to allow him to be racing past his bedtime. Sorry, Connor, we're just taking a joke there. So 27 minutes left. And Lendl starting to open up a little, losing a little bit of ground there between himself and Christopher. But I must say, Gavin and Marius have been absolutely relentless with each other. Gavin not letting Marius get away, and all Marius is trying to do is just keep him behind him.
got a little bit of a gap now. If we look over there, there's about a second between them. It's actually opening now. That gap is opening a bit. Look at that.
Yeah, so there must have been a little mistake there for Gavin. I saw Jake's. I think he might be getting some pressure from who's that behind him. It might be Brandon, who's now making his way back through the field, because you can see Brandon doing 1:29, so he should definitely be up in the top there. But it looked like he got stuck off the start there, went into the back of someone, and unfortunately taking off that front wing, and he needed to pit on a lap at number 1.
Brandon Hills, if you are familiar with the name Hills, yes, is the brother of Vaughan Hills, who sits himself in the Bravo tier.
I think Gavin's just disconnected.
That must. Let's have a look.
Just go. That's Gavin. He's just about to disconnect. There we go. That's Gavin disconnected.
And there we go, blue sky. That is a great
man.
Pity. There's a great pity, because that was turning out to be fantastic racing action between him and Marius. Marius will now, no doubt, be saying a couple of cheers in his helmet in the cockpit of that car.
You know, and I just wish that silly things like that stop happening, because the guys put in so much time. It's the preparation that they put up front. You get into the race, you're 15 minutes into the race, and then you disconnect. Whereas you've just spent 2.5 hours driving with the same people in a practice lobby, and not even an hour earlier, and you don't have problems. Man.
That is, of course, the advantage of reality racing versus sim racing. Car can't disappear off the track. Racing around SARCO, so can't alarm me.
So that is your 3 podium winners at the moment. Christopher leads with 2.7 seconds. Behind him is Lendl Janssen with Marius in 3rd place. Then Jakes, he's in 4th with Ross up in 5th. Alex, he's been moving himself up the order a little bit quieter than expected, because he was battling down with Marshall when they were in 7th and 8th. But now Alex up into 6th. The little move there, that's Connor. He's got himself ahead of Marshall. But now they're going to be side by side. Great move there. Spatial awareness. Just watch out the rear. Oh, little lock-up of the rear there for Marshall. Try to take that much tighter line. And that's the thing, is that if you're not practicing what the car is going to be doing when you're taking a much tighter line, you can lock up the rears. And you saw how Marshall, but he did manage. Don't have a look there, Craig. That was a little bit too far to be putting your nose in there.
It's going to be I think there's now going to be a new battle there coming out for 8th position. And it may well turn out into a battle for 7th and 8th between Connor, Marshall and Craig. We'll have to see what comes out of that racing, because Marshall's got it all to do at the moment to just close that, what is now a 2-second gap. Enthusiastic with the loud pedal.
So Stephen, we've just had Gavin, he has joined us on the YouTube stream, and he's saying disconnected Aish. Man, Gavin, it absolutely breaks my heart to see that. Putting in some really great laps there, really fighting hard with yourself and Marius there, and the disconnection is definitely not what we want to see. But now we see Craig trying to go around the outside, down turn at number 15. He'll have that DRS open. Will he be able to get the straight line advantage? It looks like he's just about made the move.
He has.
No, he hasn't.
Ooh, that's contact.
He hasn't.
That contact?
I wasn't sure. I think he might have just lost the rears a little bit. And this is what happens when we don't get to see the entire picture. I still don't know whether that was contact or not. For me, it looked like the rear had already gone. Then Marshall came. Marshall was on the brakes.
Possible, certainly possible. I think we have lost one more driver.
So no, that's
by the looks of it.
Whoa, Craig going very sideways. What I can tell you, I've just seen, is that Marius has now moved up into second place. Lendl is down into third.
Yes. Well, the reason Lendl's lost a heck of a lot of pace. He's now 9 seconds behind Chris. I think Lendl had a bit of an oopsie.
And there's Brandon in 10th place. You can see he's doing just about the same lap times as the top three.
Who have we lost? I think we have lost a driver. We have 11 drivers participating here as opposed to the 12 that we had a few minutes ago.
So we've lost Gavin. Let's just, luckily, as I did take a roll call, the other driver we have lost was Ashley. So Ashley is done. So that would give us 14, that would give us 12. So there's definitely one more that we aren't accounting for. So we've got Alex, we've got him, we've got AD, we've got Craig, we have Marshall. It is Ronaldo. We haven't. Oh no, there's Ronaldo there. I've just seen Ronaldo. Craig, that's Craig going into the pits. Let's just make a note of that.
Hopefully this will not be a damage repair pit stop, which takes more time than your ordinary tire swap and fuel up. That's way out already.
That was a very, very quick stop there.
Expect just some fuel. Just some fuel to get that car going and get it back onto track as soon as possible. I wonder if Craig will be wanting to nurse that set of tires up throughout the 40 minutes. Just over half the session remaining. I see Lendl heading into the pits now as well. Let's get some pit action as well as Ross. See what Lendl is having done here. And fuel.
So that was very quick.
Is your damage repair.
Is definitely getting some damage repaired. So that's going to mean Lendl's going to start dropping down. I see that Connor now, he's coming into pits. Lendl is losing a lot of time here. Dropping down the order.
Must be some significant areas on his way, but there must have been some significant damage repair. That means he's got a lot of work to do to move himself back up the order. What you've got to remember though with pitting is that everybody needs to do it just once. So here you come out after a pit stop is not necessarily indicative of where you will end up in the final standings, because your competitors will also need to pit and you will have an opportunity to move up order as a result of your competitors needing to have a visit to the man in the pit stop.
So now Lendl's actually dropped himself behind Connor, who's now in 8th place. We see Christopher.
Oh, we have a new leader too. We have a new leader. Yeah,
that's because Christopher's. Yeah, with Christopher going to the pits, that's allowed Marius to now be the new race leader. And I'm sure Marius will be very happy with this current situation. It all depends on what Christopher's strategy is. Will he take the tires? Will he put fuel and allow Marius to run away with it?
Just now having dropped down another position, down to third, meaning that Alex is moving up into second. You can see how much a pit stop changes up the order of races. And what will need to happen is Marius's pit stop will need to be shorter than Chris's pit stop in order for Marius to maintain that top position. So right now, 33 seconds. That is how long Marius will have to enter the pits.
So according to my notes, because now I have been watching this, so we know that Brandon has pitted earlier on, but it's going to be whether he'll run the entire race as we saw Sly Pete do. But Marius and Alex, they currently have to pit, and then we see Marius, he will now go in a timing
that timer has now started. That means he's got 33 seconds to do whatever he needs to do. You can see the gap closing. It's Christopher there. You see that gap, it's going to close very, very quickly. That is a damage repair. How much has he chosen?
No,
He's on his way.
I don't think so. It's going to be so close because that's 11 seconds. So Alex is now coming to the pits.
Temptation must be everything to get a little bit more speed coming through the pits.
So here comes Christopher. He'll cross the start-finish line, and there goes Morris. He'll be released from the pits. So they will have just a couple of seconds between them. But Morris will now rejoin this race in second. You can see 2.5 seconds between them. So Morris actually made up some time on the pits there.
Definitely. It's going to have to be now a battle for first and second. Beg your pardon, a battle for first, should I say, by the man in second place, Marius, taking on the man in first place, Chris. Marius will need to warm up his tyres a little bit. And that's why you can see that gap is opening. Almost 2.5.
No, so luckily,
3 seconds.
Luckily with these cars is that when the guys do come out, they are up to temperature. But you're right, they will need to get just a little bit more heat into them. But they are just about ready to be going, and the guys can attack from that first corner.
Let's have a look at what's going on between fourth and fifth right now. Here's Alex with Lendl right behind him.
So it seems that...
And I see that Lendl has not only got a time penalty, he seems to have invalidated his previous lap time. He has exceeded the track limit, which means that his penalty is more substantial than what is being let on. Let's have a quick look at the standings.
I agree with you. So let's look at... So he does still have the 3 seconds, so it hasn't really increased. Connor, he's also got 1 second there with Marshall, 1 second. Brandon, he's got 1 second, as well as Sean van der Linde, he has 1 second as well. So not too many penalties added there. And the guy's not speeding in the pit lane, so that's why we're not seeing the likes of a 10-second here and there.
It is concerning if you look at the connection quality just offhand between Ross, Alex, and Connor. The connection quality not great, which hopefully means that these guys will be able to stay on track. We don't want to see any more disconnects here unnecessarily. There's Brandon on 9th with his 1 second penalty. He has got work to do to move further up the order. Was significantly close to or earlier, and he has moved down the order. I think that was because of a slight incident that he had earlier on track. That he sustained some damage meant that he had to go into pit, meant that he lost some time. But it is still 14 minutes and 15 seconds remaining of this race, and anything can happen in that amount of time. A lot of these drivers now, having completed their pit stops, unlikely to be any more pit stops unless some damage occurs to any of those cars necessitating a pit stop. I'm talking about something like the loss of a front splitter. I'm talking about something like the loss of a wheel, which is entirely possible if you connect with the wall, or if you connect with one of your fellow drivers, of course.
Which luckily we haven't seen.
Luckily we haven't seen in the Alpha tier. Which there was a significant problem in the Bravo tier. All those guys getting a little bit too enthusiastic with each other, meaning that because of that contact, a lot of damage was sustained in a very short period of time during the start of the race, but which also led to a rather bizarre ending of the race. We'll see that in the replay, which will be posted on YouTube during the week, the highlights reel showing all of those big moments from the Bravo tier. There will also be a highlights reel from the Alpha tier, but right now you are live with SARCO. This is round 6 of the Formula V8 3.5 litre league. We are coming to you from the comfort of our respective lounges, but on screen you are watching the action go down at the Algarve International Circuit in Portugal, rolling hills of the Mediterranean country, looking for one of the prettiest circuits and no doubt one of the most challenging circuits in the world, and what is firmly a driver's favorite. The circuit is not officially on the FIA Formula 1 calendar, however it is used for testing, and it is of course used for sim racing, as you are seeing on your screen tonight.
So thank you very much for that, Stephen. I'm just looking at Christopher and Marius, and it looks like Marius is starting to get a little bit of momentum there. Marius going a 0.2 of a second quicker than Christopher that lap. So Marius starting to close up, and now that he can see Christopher, he might be able to start getting himself in positions where he's able to use that straight line speed, which is what we've seen Marius has. Gavin was absolutely struggling to close him down going through the straight sections. So definitely going to be some interesting times happening here. But now just looking at Lendl, he's now closing up on the back of Alex once again. So I do think it will just be a matter of time where Lendl will be able to find a way around Alex driving out of Norway. And a driver who is now snuck up in there hasn't really had much attention, and that is Ross. And Ross is currently in third place.
Some phenomenal driving on display. Wow, hang on. As we say that,
Ross gets it a little bit wrong coming out of turn number 13, but he has seemed to recover.
Yes, luckily got some time to spare between him and Alex. Nonetheless, 8 seconds can go past very, very, very quickly.
Can we just jump down to 4th and 5th, because those guys 0.3 of a second. That's Lendl. We saw him going around the outside of Christopher, so it looks like this is going to be an easy pass.
Here we go. Here comes the straight line speed.
Straight line speed with DRS open. That's Lendl on the inside. He will have to... Alex will have to let him go through. So a great setup there for Lendl. He now moves himself up into 4th place. So just on 10 minutes to go. But the question is, Ross, you can see a 5-second advantage there for Lendl. So Lendl are now only 8 seconds behind Ross. Can Lendl now close up and still put himself on the podium?
What Lendl is going to have to be aware of is the fact that he has got a penalty to his name.
So we know that it is only 3 seconds. So we have seen Peter Hademan come back and say, commentators curse. Peter, we don't do it. You guys do this to yourselves.
Of course you do. It's never our fault. Sitting up here in the commentary box, we have no influence, no role to play in any of this. Some running commentary on what is turning out to be some great racing here in the Alpha Tier. Uneventful racing at that, and uneventful in a good way, because there has been no contact between the drivers that we know of yet. I'm going to touch my coffee table as I say that to you. Yes, it is made of wood, and hopefully it stays that way for the remaining 9 minutes, should I say. So
there we go.
Have lost one more driver. So
that
10 drivers.
Yeah, that was Sean van der Linde. He had retired to the pits, but it looks like that he has now exited. But now what we're seeing is that was just under 1.5 seconds that Lendl has been able to close up onto Ross. You can see the deficit now is pushing 6 seconds. So it looks like Lendl's now on the charge to close down Ross and take this podium position.
Looking at Ross's connection, or Ross's time behind the leader, I think Ross has also slowed down, even if only marginally, from what was 21 seconds behind Christopher, nudging on 23.5 seconds behind Christopher. So it may just be a connection of fates. If Lendl keeps on the pace, keeps that car going as fast as it can reasonably go, Ross is off the pace, shall we say, even if only by 1.5 seconds. We can see the difference between the lap times between Ross.
No, Ross is off. Ross is off. I've just seen him at the bottom of the screen now, and how I picked that up is I saw how close that time was going. So I think Ross had the DRS open going out of the last corner, and he's absolutely binned it, which has now put Lendl up into 3rd, and Alex is in 4th.
Spotted, Mr. Hall. That means that we now have a new man 3rd New man on the podium. It's good news for Lendl.
So
very, very poor news for Ross. That's a great pity for the Scottish now.
Look, I believe that Lendl he really deserves a good result because he's put in the time, he's been doing the laps. You can see but that time between himself and Christopher, how close they are. Lendl should be just about on the rear of Christopher, but it just isn't happening like that. Lendl mistakes in the pits, and that is what has cost him here. A little mistake for Lendl. Man, but it really is great. And you also had lots of disconnections earlier on in the season. But it's good to see him now fighting back and getting himself on the podium.
Here's the thing. Lendl put in an amazing time. And if he is given the space, which it now looks like he has, although there's still some pressure from Alex, just about 4 seconds behind. Still going to be some pressure, even if it's only a little bit, on the shoulders of Lendl, and gives himself the space for the next 6 minutes. He can close that gap substantially, and that could be an indicator of future performance.
Whoa, you can see Lendl just about locking the rears there, and Alex will be able to see the time penalty that Lendl has, so I'm sure Alex is going to be chasing that.
I've unfortunately just lost Ronaldo as well. I've just seen him pop off the grid. We are down to 9 drivers.
So I'm just thinking, I'm not sure whether that might be some load shedding that it could possibly be kicking in. We have... Is that can't see with the shadow. Looks like just over 5 minutes left. So we did start off with 14 drivers. We are now down to 9.
It almost seems like survival of the fittest. 1 driver every minute. Load shedding is plaguing South Africans. If you are watching us from abroad, a very unique situation we do face here. But we're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about some fantastic racing action. I see Marius having gone a little bit wide.
But I think Christopher's made a mistake because Marius is now just over 1 second behind Christopher.
Yeah. Right there. Look at that. Look at that gap. It's right there. I wonder if Christopher is perhaps feeling Marius breathing down his neck a little bit, and really now is all to play for first and second.
Well, just look at the previous lap times. Is that Marius took 1.2 seconds out of Christopher, and
yeah. I wonder if Christopher's tires are feeling the heat a little bit too much.
Well, you can see Marius now with it. Yeah, it does look like Christopher's definitely struggling with some sort of grip here because he went very wide. I'm seeing that he's understeering. No, that seemed to be okay, but now Marius, we know that his car is fast in a straight line. So he will make sure that this car is straight. He will then get that DRS open.
What he needs is some slipstream, which he's not taking advantage of on this lap. Quite surprising. You can see that gap. Oh, that gap is closing. That gap, well, no, it's actually quite consistent.
So just under...
I beg your pardon, it has closed by 200.
Right on the back of Christopher, absolutely fantastic. So we'll watch them come out of turn number 5. Now they head down the hill towards turn number 6. Christopher's a little bit wide. Marius nice and tight up on the inside of that curb.
Here's where it's dangerous. Here's where it's very, very dangerous. Because Christopher knows that Marius is right there. Marius will be wanting to take at first ace out of Christopher, who is no longer holding on to that with his fingernails at this point. And what it means is that both are open to mistakes. Both are open to errors.
But the person who's going to be... Marius is going to be under more pressure because Christopher goes wide. They're going to be side by side. But now Marius must just be patient. Get a good exit. Stay behind Christopher. Get that slipstream advantage. And then Marius will have 2 laps to go.
Right, let's jump back inside. Let's jump back inside and see how they do. Yeah. Got to get that slipstream. Watch the gap. I know why. This is curious. Why is Marius not using the slipstream?
I think he's rather just focusing on his braking markers.
Oh.
Whoa, that was so close.
A minute and a half, more or less, beginning.
So this is the second last lap. The guys will definitely be able to get around one more time. See Marius nice and tight, where Christopher was a little bit wide into 6, and a much more direct line there through 7 for Marius. Now they'll go up towards turn number 8. Very tight there for Christopher as well as for Marius. Now they'll go down the hill towards Craig Jones, turn number 10. Then back over the hill, you're hitting 2 very, very blind apexes. They'll lock up there for Christopher.
I'm waiting for turn 15. That's going to be the telling point coming onto the straight.
Now we know Christopher's been locking up here. There's the lockup once again. So Christopher's struggling for tyres. Will this be where Marius will slip right behind Christopher, make the move down the start-finish straight? But this is it. Now down turn at number 15. Marius will open the DRS. I'm sure he will want to stay behind Christopher now. Yes, he does.
It is.
I think he's now moving out to just show Christopher that's where he is.
Yeah, looking in the mirrors. Here I am, buddy. It's all to play for right here, right now. I think we can stay on this bonnet view to see how close these guys are for the remainder of this race.
So now they'll go down towards turn 6. Wait for the cones, braking hard, lock up there for Christopher again.
But then very, very wide. Neither of them kissing the apex there. It's unfortunate. You can see that gap a little bit wider now. I wonder if Marius has got this tunnel vision where he is trying as hard as he can to overtake Christopher, coming down to the last few corners now.
Oh, that's Marius a little bit wide there, so he's going to lose a little bit of that time between himself and Christopher. Christopher a little bit wider, but I think he wanted to get the later apex so he can get that power down more in a straight line.
It's going to be very,
little
very
tank
tough.
snapper there for Marius as he comes onto the power.
That DRS needs. Yeah, well, let's see. We have our 1-2. Is it?
And they will across the line. That is first and second place, and that's how close it was. 0.35 of a second. Absolute fantastic finish there. And it looks like Lendl has been able to get himself, just on about 5 seconds between himself and Alex. So depending on whether Lendl got additional time penalties, he should be safe to hang on to that third place.
Interesting. Look what's going on here. Oh no, that gap has opened up a little bit.
So
and then Hills has dropped right down. Right down. The bottom of the order.
So Brandon looks like he's going to be fighting, coming towards the last couple of corners, and Marshall's going to... Oh, little touch there. Lock up there for Marshall. Brandon goes to the inside. They're going to be side by side. Marshall now goes to the inside through 15. Just about takes the rear of the Brandon with him. But they will cross the line with Brandon in. Ooh, that's probably Ross. I'm telling you now, that's Ross that decided to do some somersaults there. And there's that confirmation.
Here we are. What? That was an exciting race.
So Christopher wins with Marius in second, Lendl in third place, managing to get ahead of Alex there. Ross finishes in a fifth with Connor in sixth place ahead of his teammate Craig. Brandon in eighth. Marshall in ninth place with retirements from Ronaldo as well as Sean. Sean getting a DQ, so he must have sped into the pits. So that's very interesting. We did not see that. And then losing Ashley and Gavin to disconnections. So while we just wait for the top 3 to join us in the commentary box, I'll just remind you guys that this league is proudly supported by VX Gaming. Go and check their website. The details are in the description below for any of your PC as well as PlayStation accessories. NASCOM Executive IT and Deliver Your Parcel. They are currently having a special that if you can deliver anywhere in South Africa. It is 10 kilograms at 85 Rand. That is an absolute cracker of a deal if you go with economy. So definitely go and check them out. We have had some reviews and the guys are saying that the feedback and the service that they're getting is really good. So absolutely fantastic to see that.
A shout out to NASCOM as well, the very proud designers, I understand, and hosts of the SARCO website.
That is correct.
Fantastic platform, Matt, which facilitates a lot of the racing. We see waiting the top 3 to come and join us. I would actually like to hear from all of the drivers here tonight because they all displayed some very, very good driving. Unfortunately, we don't have time for that. We'll hear from the man who is, I was saying this to you, Dylan, I think is emerging as untouchable. Christopher Radloff in first place with very, very successful race. No doubt feeling a heck of a lot of pressure from Marius during those last few laps. I wonder if Christopher had tire issues. Maybe perhaps they're calming down.
I think they possibly just getting their nerves all sorted before they come and join us, because I don't think that Christopher has had that close of a battle this season yet. So I can see the guys starting to come in. We're just waiting for Christopher to join us.
Hey Marius.
Hey, man. Yes, het was hard, joh.
Nee, het was lekker.
Verskoon my net gou.
So the last of the drivers just coming to join us is Christopher. Just want to get the message out to him.
Certain he's calming down. Absolutely certain that he's having to calm himself down after having had that real pressure that came from Endel. Came from Marius.
So Christopher is here with us. Let's just get everybody up on screen. We'll start off with you, Lendl. An absolute fantastic race there. It's good to see you competing up at the top there. Little mistake in terms of your pit strategy by any chance, or did you have some damage there?
It's just, I'm not actually quite sure. I think maybe a little bit on the engine side. But even in the race as well, just too many mistakes throughout the whole race, spinning here and there. Yeah, but overall, yeah, I definitely didn't have pace to beat Christopher on the race pace. So, yeah. And also Marius also had a very, very good race, but he was actually catching me after a little while. So, no, I think these two guys had the pace today.
No, awesome. And then to you, Marius, once again, yourself and Gavin having an almighty battle. We saw that your straight line speed was absolutely phenomenal down the main straight. I'm sure he had that DRS open, but he wasn't able to close you. Did you have a very low downforce?
No, it wasn't very low. It was 10 in the front and 12 in the rear, or 13 or something like that. But I had on this track, that straight line speed doesn't is not the alpha and the omega type thing. It's the rest of the track that's eating overheating the tires. That was quite
no, 100%.
Good push. It was very nice because you didn't have to really conserve your tires. You could really push hard the whole time. And as my car became more empty, I started catching. The car started feeling better and better, and so that it was awesome. It was a great race against Christopher. That was
awesome.
Really.
And listen, Christopher, I don't think I've ever seen such a nervous smile on your face. Because Marius was coming, and I reckon 2 more laps or so, and I reckon Marius would have got you.
Look here, that was not easy. That front left tire of mine was in the red a couple times, and I was pushing as hard as possible, and Marius was just catching, and there's nothing I could do, and he just kept closing and closing. I just thought, fuck.
Hey, we are coconuts.
And coconuts. Sorry. And my apologies.
This is a family show.
Thank you, Lendl. Thank you.
I'll blame Marius for that one. That was it was quite a difficult race, but well done to Marius and to Lendl. Unfortunately, Lendl had 1 or 2 issues early on in the race, so I also think it would have been a 3-way battle up top there. It was some very, very quick racing out there.
No, definitely. I also want to just go have a look at the start, because it looked like Brandon struggled to get off the line, but he was essentially matching you guys for pace, so I reckon Brandon would have been up there as well. So really disappointing to have seen that.
Yeah.
What happened, Brandon?
So off the start, it looked like he got stuck, and then all of a sudden the car went again, and then he got some front wing damage, and then he had to pit right up in the front. So yeah, but just in terms of his race pace, he was in those 129s, a couple of 128s every now and again. So he definitely had some good pace there as well.
That's bad luck, but it was a very enjoyable, hard race. Thanks, guys. It was very
awesome, guys. Thank you so much for an absolute amazing race. Really, really enjoyable. And all we can say, we'll see you guys next week.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Bye,
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Well done.
Bye, Dylan.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
And that concludes tonight's action live here on SARCO. I'm afraid my camera had some connection issues earlier this evening, but my camera not wanting to work as well as it should. But I think we will try to get everything sorted out for next week, Thursday, and hopefully Eskom will have its load shedding issue sorted out by them as well, which means that we won't have as many driver disconnections in both the Bravo and Alpha tiers for the Group A racing, which will take place right here Monday night, up 8 o'clock. That is when that starts. And of course, there's the Formula V8 3.5 litre racing, which takes place on Thursday nights. That's what you've just watched this evening. That's what you just saw, some phenomenal racing in both the Bravo and Alpha tiers. And no doubt there will be even better racing next week.
No, awesome. Thank you very much, Stephen. Just having a look at the screen here next to me, Brandon actually drove into the back of Gavin. So very, very unfortunate there for the 2 teammates from the same stable driving into each other. Not the same team, but the same stable. So, guys, thank you very much. We will be back next week. And as I did that, I clicked off the wrong... I clicked on the wrong presentation, so I have now lost what the next race is. So we'll have to check that out on the website. Hopefully you can help me there, Stephen.
It's the, you know what, it's the cold that's doing it. I'm convinced of it. It's cold.
Listen, I'm pretty toasty in my little room here, so I can't blame it on the cold.
You're lucky. You're lucky. And you know what? There has been some great racing throughout the whole league, throughout the entire series, and Christopher finds himself very firmly at the top of the standings. And we'll see next week. Next week may change that. Although I think it's going to take a little bit more than just one race to knock Christopher from the podium, from where he stands right now, at the top of the podium. He's got some amazing talents, that guy. But what you did see tonight is that talent cannot overcome technical problems.
Yeah, most definitely.
As we saw Marius relentless on the chase in the last few minutes of the Alpha tier race. And we'll have to see next week.
Which is Imola. We're at Imola next week, so I found it.
done. Well done.
Right, guys.
Full stop.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Thank you once again for joining me in the commentary box. And guys, if you did like this video, give it a like. Go and check out our Facebook page. Go and be a fan if you'd like to. And all the racing information you can find on our sarcoracing.co.za. Imola next week. And
don't forget, before we discuss next week, don't forget that on the YouTube channel posted during this week will be the highlights from both of tonight's races. The Bravo Tier, where there was a phenomenal ending with one driver getting it spectacularly wrong and losing a wheel just a few hundred meters from the finish. Of course, the excellent racing that came out in the last few laps of the Alpha Tier. All of that will be in the highlights reel. So if you missed tonight's action, don't worry. It will be posted on the YouTube channel in the days to come. Be able to catch up ready in time for next week's action.
Awesome, Stephen. Thank you so much. And with that, guys, be safe, stay at home, stay warm, and thanks for watching. Yos.
Night.
Cheers.